meant for us.
The greatest mind control experiment the government ever did on us is tell us that our minds are not powerful. In the year 2009, I conducted hundreds of voltmeter tests on the human nervous system from age groups from, literally children to teenagers to middle years and to elderly years. I found that all human beings have different millivolt ranges in their nervous system. Our nervous system runs positive and negative ions throughout our body, through our hands and our feet and our chest. Our entire body is being energized by the central nervous system and the autonomic nervous system. People who have medical conditions such as severe depression or nervous system disorders such as MS have millivolt ranges that go between somewhere around 5 and maybe 9 millivolts. Now, to give you a comparison, the average person ranges between 50 or maybe even 30 and 100 millivolts. That's the average person in the average state of consciousness. A millivolt is 1/1000th of a volt. So our body is running between maybe 30 and 100 millivolts optimally. That's when we're really in our optimal range. If there was a way to raise the human body voltage, which is the electricity in our nervous system, to higher levels, that super athletes train to get their nervous systems up to 2 full volts per cell, which is 2000 millivolts. What will happen to our consciousness? Will it be easier for us to project our thoughts to cooperatively affect our reality? Will it be easier for us to apply a stronger signal to the law of attraction? Think of a radio. You're trying to listen to your favorite song on the radio and you can barely hear it because your radio doesn't have enough power. Well, your body is like a radio transmitter receiver. If you don't have enough energy in your system and you're trying to send thoughts out into the universe to cooperatively affect your reality, to attract your soulmate, to attract a business idea, to become more creative, and you don't have enough power in your nervous system, the chances of you manifesting your reality the way you want it to be are going to be much lower. So you need to increase your energy levels first, which you can do by meditation, and you can also do by using technologies like we're talking about here.
Doing a simple experiment. When we get a weak signal on the radio and we place our hands on the antenna, the signal mysteriously improves. This is scientific proof that we are likened to an antenna that receives messages from the beyond. Our future soul match might be trying to broadcast us a message, but if we are not tuned, we will not hear what they are trying to tell us. You either need more power or a more finely tuned radio. Did the ancient stone builders know the secret healing powers of spiritual vibration stone technology? Did they know that stones and crystals could hold memory?
At the University of California at Stanford in 1993, scientists were able to store a movie of a hummingbird in 3 dimensions and a separate movie of the Mona Lisa painting inside of a crystal and get it to stay there. If that sounds impossible to you, this is an ordinary sheet of plastic. It's called a DVD. And all it is plastic with a mirror, shiny coating on the bottom. A laser bounces through that sheet of plastic, bounces off the mirror coating on the bottom, and sends back the information, a movie, a song, your computer files, whatever you want to store in it, to retrieve it so that you can see pictures, you can hear songs, you can hear voices, and you can see photographs and all of your data files in ordinary plastic. Now I'll give you an example here of what we have. This is stone technology. It's in the same shape as the universe, which is a toroid. It's actually the same shape as the Earth's magnetic field and the same shape as the human eye and the iris. And what we do is we send these stone pendants, which you can wear around your neck and hold in your hands. We send them into a series of 5 quantum energy generators, and we charge them with tachyon energy, which is faster than light energy. And the frequency vibrations of the tree of life and the frequency vibration of the NASA actual sound of the sun. So basically, like little miniature hard drives, we found a way to trap, just like a DVD does, traps a movie or a song. We can trap the healing vibrations of the universe in a stone. Then what we did is we tested people. Hundreds and hundreds of people were tested, wearing the pendant, holding it with the left and the right fingers, and we could clearly find within seconds the human body voltage would come to much higher levels.
While these amazing stone pendants can raise your vibration, scientifically demonstrated, could this increased energy be applied to broadcasting our thoughts and true intentions, giving us a stronger signal?
Super athletes and psychics and healers and telepaths have much higher body voltage than the average person.
Dr. William Tiller conducted human voltage studies on human beings who were Qigong masters or healers, demonstrating extrasensory abilities.
50 to 100 millivolts is natural. If you put electrodes on the ear, which is a norm for the body in physiological tests, then you're talking about a few millivolts. But if you're working with a healer, as we did some experiments, copper wall experiments with Elmer Green and I did this back in the 70s, then the healer, you can measure body voltages on the walls, and we found that a healer could increase the body voltage on a wall
in the Echo on Channel 4, and this is episode number 14. And this particular show is about mind over matter, and the clip that you were just watching is about that. As you just watched, there are extremely interesting phenomena that actually our brain produces. There are like numbers of good examples over there. And as you saw, the heart is not just an organ that pumps blood into your veins and body. It's way more complicated than that. You know, it actually proved that body works as whole. It's not we are not like a robot that if the robotic hand is not working, you can replace it with another hand, but the feet might work. We are human being as a whole is different than a robot. Why? Because of the energy that goes down from head to toe throughout our body. And there are a bunch of experiments that the scientists did, but one of the most interesting experiment that I came across was with water. If you have noticed, in many school of thoughts and religions, water is always a part of rituals, be it holy water, be it in Zoroastrianism, they call it the powered or energized water. They call it abzur. In many other religions is like that. They're part of Islam also. They call it the healing water also. And Shinto Japanese also, they pray for water. And there is this gentleman from Japan, actually. He worked on water, and he took picture of the water molecules when they're frozen, and he just realized that water, the molecule itself, act differently after when a Buddhist monk perform a prayer than, let's say, a criminal with a criminal mind yell at the water. Believe it or not, they look very different, and sometimes the water looks very pleasant and sometimes not, very scary, as a matter of fact. So just think about that 2/3 of our body is water. If the power of intention, be it good or bad, could do that to water molecule, what they could do to our body. That was just my take on the movie you just saw.
I think I've seen some of those. I saw another documentary that was similar to this, not quite as on the technical side of it, but they were showing water that had been, blessed, or different states of the water molecules and the different patterns that it, created and harmonious or stuff. It was. I really wish I could add more to it, but that's all I got.
I was just thinking, for many people in our audience, this might seem a little bit weird or a little bit far out. Our Western minds are so trained to think things are what they are. There's nothing more than what you see. There's nothing beyond the physical realm. That's been the Western mindset for a long time. Mm-hmm. The only thing I would add to that is, I'm sure there are many, well, of the 3 people that are watching it, I'm sure that one of them is a Christian, at least. But with having said that, I think as a Christian, for me, this goes along with different references in the Bible to your body, your soul, and your spirit, and different, when Paul said, I pray that your body and soul and spirit be preserved blameless unto the coming of Jesus Christ, and so forth. So there are references many references in the Bible as to the spiritual realm. Mm-hmm. And as a Christian, I believe there's the physical realm, and then the spiritual realm, and the emotional realm, and all of us have a body, a soul, and a spirit. Mm-hmm. So I hope that's not getting too religious for...
No. It's actually a universal thing, because even though... and this movie is trying to explain that science has been very unkind to spirituality, and basically... thoughts, mind, and what we call at the ancient time spirit. But now we just realizing that it's not a matter. Well, of course there are some superstitions. Well, of course there are some misleading points, but not all of it is. And the modern physics, or the quantum physics, how did they know that? It's just the granddaddy of all this weirdness. It started from Heisenberg, and it started from one experiment that they were doing with particles, with the 2 slits that was against the particles that they were shot. And they realized, when you look at when you observe the particles, they act differently. When you don't observe them, they act in a different way. So in a way, when you don't look at them, they're waves, and when you look at them, they are particles. So that just made a big question, that did the mind of the observer change the result of the experiment? And the answer was yes. That's why now when they want to make quantumic computers, they make sure that all the circuits are in a vacuum, and they're not they're sort of isolated from the human mind. And that's a huge I would say phenomena, because that shows that the mind of the computer operator can change the pattern in the quantumic computer, which is not based on electron. It's actually based on quantumic situation, which is very complicated.
Basically, quantum physics is...
Yes.
I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you. Quantum physics, in a way, if you want to think of it, is just the way to explain the connection between the physical and the supernatural.
Yes.
Okay, and really, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. every time they did an experiment, the experimenter in the room was able to change the results.